Welcome to the first session of the programme. So just a quick run through of the basic Teams training before we begin. So there are a few main buttons that you need to be aware of, and these buttons are the camera button. So you can choose whether to have this on or off by pressing this button, but please note that when the camera is on, everyone in the session can see you. And next to that we have the microphone button. So this button controls whether we can hear you or not. So we just ask that you all keep your microphones on mute, and when on mute there should be a line through the button, and this just makes sure that everyone can hear me properly and reduces any background noise. But if you do wish to speak, please feel free to press this button to unmute, and then we can hear you, and then just make sure you pop yourself back on mute when you've finished speaking. Next to that we have the chat button, so if you do have any problems, for example if you can't see or hear me, just pop a message saying help and we should get round to you. And then finally, when you've finished the session, please remember to press the leave button to make sure you don't leave the session running. So as a general rule of thumb, if my Teams goes down and you can't see or hear me anymore, we just ask that you wait 5 minutes whilst I try and get back in. If your Teams goes down, log off and log back in, and this should hopefully sort out the problem. But if the connection is lost completely and we can't get back on, just drop me an email and we can talk about it in your next phone call. So before we start, I just want to give you a brief overview of what to expect from the programme from here on out. So you've probably already met with the doctor, dietitian, physiotherapist, your key worker and the exercise assistants. So this next stage of the programme will be your nutrition sessions, which will be delivered over the next 7 weeks, and then followed up by a check-in phone call from your key worker just to see how you're getting on and to discuss your goals. So these sessions are based on the sections that you'll find in your Help Me to Be Healthy booklet, which you should have all received by now. But if you're yet to receive your booklet, please just let your key worker know during your next contact. So if you're unable to make one of the scheduled sessions, it's really important to let your key worker know so we can make arrangements to catch you up. So after this first part of the programme, we then move on to phase 2 of the programme. So during this phase, your key worker will do a video call with you once every 2 weeks just to see how you're getting on with your goals and to discuss a different health topic. So these health topics range from anything such as vitamins and minerals to sleep and to routine and to tricky times. So this should then take you to the halfway point, where you'll then have a 6-month review by your key worker to see how you've been getting on with the programme. After this point, you'll then enter the maintenance phase. So the maintenance phase takes about 6 months, which will take you up to the end of the programme. At this point, you'll be having monthly check-in phone calls with your key worker. And then finally, at the end of the programme, you'll have your final review before you are discharged. Your key worker will discuss each phase with you in more detail as you approach it, but if you do have any questions, please feel free to let your key worker know now. So just a bit of housekeeping before we begin. So you may wish to take some notes today, so if so, please go and grab a pen and paper, or you might wish to write anything useful in your notes app on your phone. So I want you to enjoy this session, so please feel free to ask questions, have a drink when you want, go to the toilet when you want. Today's session will take about half an hour, and it might be useful to have your booklet with you too. So we ask that there's no recording of today's session, and anything that's said about yourselves or anyone else, please stays in this session. So also, can you make sure that you use suitable language, and can I also just double check that everyone signed their confidentiality form? If you are under 16, your guardian should have done this for you. So let's make a start with today's session. So today's session is building blocks to a healthier lifestyle. And as the name suggests, this session touches on the different things that help create a healthy. So getting started. So it's really great that you've joined this programme and tuned in today. This shows that you're super keen and ready to start making some changes. So well done. So when thinking about the changes you might want to make, the idea is to think small. So this will make it easier for you to start making those changes and help you stick to them. So have you ever heard of the hare and the tortoise tale? So this is a story about how a fast hare made fun of the slower tortoise. So the tortoise challenged the hare to a race. The hare zoomed ahead and decided to take a power nap. The tortoise actually overtakes the sleeping hare and ends up winning the race. So the moral of the story is, slow and steady wins the race. So if we want to make changes that last, and we want these changes to become a habit, so that's something that we do without thinking, then it's best to take our time. So, in order to help us make these changes, we will be setting weekly goals. So goals are a great way to identify small, easy steps to achieving an overall goal and to also track your progress. So at the end of each nutrition session, you'll be encouraged to have a think about what your next goal could be, and we ask that you record this on the goal tracker sheet in preparation for your key worker phone call each week. Hopefully you should have received the goal tracker sheet by now, but if you haven't, please let your key worker know. If you are ever unsure what goal to set, your key worker can help you identify a goal during your check-in phone calls, so don't worry. So let's have a look at what makes a good goal. So there are 2 goals on page 4 of your programme booklet. Have a think, which one do you think's a good small goal and which one do you think's a not so good goal? So the 2 goals are, number 1, swapping a bar of chocolate for a piece of fruit one day this week, or number 2, never eating chocolate again. So let's look at goal 1. So goal 1 is actually a great goal because it's smart. So it's clear as it's telling us what change they are going to make. It's meaningful as they are choosing a goal that's really important to them. And it's achievable, so it's a nice small change. And finally, we can measure it, so they have said exactly when they are going to make the change and how often they will do it. But why isn't goal 2 a good goal? So goal 2 isn't a good goal as it's really hard and would be difficult to stick to over a long period of time. So when we set goals for ourselves, we need to think of something that we would like to change, but make it easy for ourselves to start with. So if you want to cut down on how much chocolate you eat, then swapping a bar of chocolate one day a week for some fruit would be a great place to start. So bearing this in mind, have a think about what a good goal could be. So for example, I will try 1 new vegetable a week for the next 5 weeks. I will have a glass of water every morning before school. So as we achieve our goals, we can continue those positive healthy changes we've made and then think about adding in another goal. So let's talk food. We need food to fuel our bodies with energy so that we can do certain things. So just like how cars need fuel to go, we need food as our fuel. So by food providing our bodies with energy, it helps and supports our body's movement, growth and repair, and as well as supporting some really important functions such as breathing, making sure our body is at the right temperature, keeping our heart beating, and helping us digest the food we eat. So there are 3 main food groups: carbohydrates, fats and proteins. So most food contains a bit of each group, so it's good to eat lots of different types of food as it can give us lots of energy and can help make us feel good. So now moving on to energy. So the energy we talk about in food and drink is called calories. So in your booklet, we have used a yellow sun to show 100 calories in food. So some food can be high in calories and some food can be low in calories. So to put this in perspective, let's have a look at these foods and drinks here and have a think about which one we think is the lowest in energy and which one we think is the highest in energy. So we have a mega bar of chocolate, a chocolate brownie milkshake, an apple and a full cheesy deep dish pizza. Right, let's have a look at the results to see how we did. So the lowest in energy is the apple, and this has less than 1 sun. The next is the milkshake, and this has 3 suns. After the milkshake, we have the bar of chocolate with 6 suns, and that leaves the highest in energy as the whole pizza with 10 suns. So is this what you guys thought, or has anything surprised you? See, I was actually quite surprised by the milkshake. So even though a milkshake has milk in it, and in its natural form, milk is very good for us. But because of the added sugars to milkshake, so these sugars are added for its taste, this has increased the number of suns, so how much energy is in that milkshake. So a top tip for you, if you do enjoy a milkshake, we recommend opting for lower sugar milkshake straws or syrups. Now let's have a look at energy balance. So what happens when we have more or less energy than what our bodies need? Well, if we eat more than what our bodies need, over time we can put weight on, which makes our bodies work harder. So just think about when your teacher gives you extra homework. We don't like it. And just like that, our bodies don't like having to work harder too. And then on the other hand, when we eat a little bit less than what our bodies need, we can stop gaining weight and might lose weight too. And this is like when we don't get any homework, it's easier for our bodies and we can do more of what we enjoy. So this doesn't mean all we have to eat is salad though. So it's important to eat the foods we love, but it's just about getting that balance right. So as the weeks go on, we will cover topics such as takeaways and fast food and things like food swaps, and these will help you make small changes to the meals you enjoy by helping to make the meal more balanced. So have a think now, has anyone ever tried making any healthy changes before? And if so, what went well and what didn't go so well? So for example, I've started to make sure that I have a piece of fruit with my breakfast every day, and this makes sure I have a good start to the day. So to achieve a healthy diet and lifestyle, it isn't all about changing what we eat and drink. Movement is just as important. So we should try to do some physical activity every day. So it is recommended for the ages of 5 to 18-year-olds to aim for about 1 hour of moderate intensity physical activity daily. So there can be lots of benefits from physical activity, such as helping use some energy up from the foods we eat, help keep our bones healthy and strong, help build some nice muscles, and most importantly, it can help us feel good. But don't worry, we don't have to spend hours running. It's starting to move more, so moving our bodies for 5 minutes in between gaming or watching YouTube is a great place to start. So have a think. Can you think of any exercises that you might like to do? So I like hula hooping for a few minutes after I've been sat down for a while. And there are also some activities that are fun that don't even feel like exercising. So things like dancing, trampolining, exercise games such as Pokemon Go. So you should have spoke to the physio already to see what activities will work well for you. Or if you've got this coming up, start thinking about this now and you can have that discussion soon. Screen time. So you might remember when you joined the programme we asked about your screen time. So screen time is when we talk about time spent watching TV, playing video games or on the computer, phone or tablet. So the idea is to try to limit screen time as it doesn't use up much energy at all if we spend most of our days lying or sitting down. So when we start spending less time in front of a screen, we have more time to get up and be active. And this can help us feel less stressed out and help us sleep better at night. So the important message is to take regular breaks away from the screen and try to move a bit more. So each week we'll finish each session with some helpful top tips from that session, which might be a bit easier to remember than the whole session. So you can also find these in your booklet if you wish to check back on them later. So today's session's top tips are: think of some healthy habits you would like to start or that you might already have, and then think of some not so healthy habits that you would like to change. And finally, try to focus on healthier choices and feeling good. So as we mentioned earlier on in this presentation, we will discuss goal setting at the end of each session. So this is Tom and Shan from your booklet, and here are their examples of goals that they have set themselves based on today's session to get you started. So they are going to try reducing screen time by 15 minutes on a Monday, going for a 5-minute walk after school on a Wednesday, and eating a piece of fruit with breakfast on Friday. So now it's your turn. Have a chat with your parent or guardian and have a think about what a good small goal would be for you to try. So write this down on your goal tracker sheet and you can discuss this in your next one-to-one phone call with your key worker. So just to sum up the key take-home messages from today's session. Make small changes, start with little changes that are easy to make. Go slow and steady, and this will help us make changes at last. And finally, try to start reducing the amount of time on your screen and use that time to start moving more. So we just have a few questions from Tom and Shan. So Tom asked, is this a diet? And to that we say no, we don't want you to see this as a diet. We say it's a lifestyle change, so this means we want you to pick up on some healthy habits so they stick around. Shan asked, does this mean I have to stop eating all my favourite foods? And once again we say no, we still want you to enjoy your favourite foods, just in healthy amounts. Right, we have come to the end of today's session today, so thank you all for coming. So next week's session is the Eat Well guide and the importance of food balance. So please have a read through the booklets and the Eat Well guide section before next week and make some notes of any questions you have. So remember to leave this team session now and we'll see each other for your next session at the correct date and time. Okay, thank you for your time.